Right now, they'll want to welcome to the program. She's got a column at the Washington Examiner. Conservative media strategist Taylor McCarty is with us. Taylor, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. I appreciate you coming on the program. So let's get it out of the way right up front. You are an NRA member, is that correct?
I am. I was a member in college and signed up for a full membership this year.
You okay? So nobody forced you to be an NRA member, right? Just want to make sure.
Nobody forced me. When I remember when I was an undergraduate student, the NRA University came to campus, and that's when I really became interested in it. I grew up with a family who hunted and that sort of thing, but never really took it into my own hands, and I became concerned with my own safety, especially on campus and moving to Washington, D.C. as a 21-year-old a few years ago. So, yeah, I wanted to take my safety into my own hands, and I thought an NRA membership did that.
All right. So you've got a piece at the Washington Examiner talking about the Women's March and the protest against the NRA, which is scheduled for tomorrow. You say that the Facebook event for the march claims that the NRA is a, quote, direct endorsement of violence against women and encourages activists to practice their First Amendment rights while demanding the NRA, quote, take down the recent irresponsible and dangerous advertisement videos from all social platforms immediately. You also note that they say that the movement will, quote, proudly and bravely continue to strive for the respect of the civil and human rights of all people. But you say that you don't feel like that respect is extended to people like you.
No, I'm not buying it. The original Women's March the day after the inauguration made it clear that women with right of center values were not welcome to the march. And the word feminist has become a very controversial term, but I refuse to let the left hijack it. So when people ask me if I'm a feminist, I say absolutely, but the Constitution reigns supreme, and part of the Constitution is my right to own a firearm.
You say the left clings to the tired, overused, and blatantly false narrative that the NRA promotes violence, and this is further reiterated by the Women's March organizers. You say what organizers either didn't realize or perhaps conveniently chose to forget was that their own supporters have done exactly what they accuse the NRA of doing. What exactly are you talking about, Taylor?
So the speakers at the Women March back in January had quite a record on hand. Donna Hilton, who is responsible for the kidnapping, rape, torture, and murder of a 64-year-old gay man in New York. Angela Davis, who not only was the head of the Communist Party in America for many years, was responsible for a violent courtroom takeover who led to the death of a California judge. And Madonna, probably most famously of the three, said at the march that she had often thought about blowing up the White House. So if they say that the NRA is the organization that's encouraging violence, they're completely hypocritical. It's wrong, and they're doing the exact same things themselves.
You watched the video in question, I'm sure. Did you think that the video was advocating violence?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think it was encouraging people who have had their rights infringed to know their rights, and there's nothing violent about it. I think they're just intimidated, and God forbid anyone disagree with them. So I think that's where a lot of the backlash came from, but they're incorrect to say that it incited violence or encouraged violence in any way.
Talking again with Taylor McCarty, media strategist and author of the column in the Washington Examiner, taking a look at the Women's March and the march on the NRA. You say it seems that the Women's March did manage to get one thing right. Marchers are well within the right to protest peacefully. Not only is it their constitutional right, but it should also be encouraged for the sake of fostering a diverse marketplace of ideas, which, by the way, I absolutely agree with. However, you say protesting must not come at the expense of silencing others. And, I will say not just this event, Taylor, but really that seems to be, I think, one of the common sticking points that we see in the protests / riots that are occurring across this country on at least a semi-regular basis. I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I can hear things that I disagree with all day long, and you know what? It may bother me, it may offend me, but I don't feel the need to try to shut down someone else's speech. That seems to be, though, where we are right now, right? If you don't like what somebody says, do your best to silence them.
I think that's unfortunately what it's come to, and the conservative movement needs to do a good job at pushing back at that. We need to, peacefully disagree with people who we disagree with ideologically, but say, hey, I'll disagree with you all day long, but I'm going to defend your right to say it. So we haven't seen that extended as a courtesy from the left. I hope we can find some common ground and agree that while we disagree, it's fine. That's fine. That's part of creating an open dialogue. So unfortunately, it's not something we're seeing very often, but I hope that can turn around quickly.
I hope that you're right, Taylor. And listen, I appreciate your writing, and I definitely appreciate you coming on the program today. It's good talking with you. Hope we get a chance to do this in the future.
You as well. Thanks for having me. Have a good one.
You bet. You too. Taylor McCarty, join us. So you can find Taylor on Twitter at Taylor McSquared. Also, TaylorMcCarty.com.